ya soal nyebut nama.
Good evening, honorable judges, audience, and fellow debater. I'm Jessica as the Prime Minister from the opening government. Today, our team strongly support the motion. This House believes that discipline is the foundation of good education. Let's start by defining some terms of this debate clear. Discipline means the ability to control one's behavior, to follow rules, and to manage time and responsibility. Good education means a system that not only improves academic achievement but also shapes moral values, social behavior, and personal growth. So, when we say that discipline is the foundation of good education, we mean that without disciplines, all education goals, knowledge, skill, and character cannot be achieved effect- effectively. Our stand is simple. Education builds the mind. Education builds the minds, but discipline builds the person. Without disciplines, education becomes weak and directionless. Now I will explain our three main arguments. Disciplines build consistently and learning habit. The most successful students are not always the smartest, but the most consistent. Disciplined students regularly comes to class on time and completely text without being forced. Uh, and discipline shape moral values. And argument two is discipline shape moral values. Education is not just about grade; it's about forming good character. True discipline students learn respect, honesty, and self-control. When students follow school rules, respect teacher, and completely text, they are not just obeying, they are learning responsibility. And the third argument is discipline creates an environment where learning can happen. Even the best teacher and facilities are useless in a chaotic environment. It means a classroom where students talk loudly, come late, or refuse to listen. Without discipline, teaching becomes impossible. To conclude, discipline is not only about punishment or strict rules, but it is about training them to be responsible, consistent, and self-aware. Knowledge give us ideas, but discipline give us the structure to use them. Ladies and gentlemen, that is why we, the opening government, firmly believe that discipline is indeed the foundation of the good education. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, respected opponent, and fellow debater, as the opposition, I strongly disagree with the motion that discipline is the foundation of good education. I believe discipline is important, but it's not the main foundation. The real foundation of good education is curiosity, creativity, and motivation to learn. Without those things, discipline becomes just obedience, not the true understanding. Firstly, good education is not only about following rules, it's about learning how to think. A student can be very disciplined, always on time, quiet in class, and neat with homework. But if they don't understand what they learn, that's not education, that's a routine. According to OECD Education Report 2022, countries that focus on student engagement and curiosity, like Finland and the Netherlands, have better learning outcome even those that only focus on strict discipline. This shows that real learning starts with interest and curiosity, not fear of pressure. Secondly, education today must prepare students for fast-changing world. In the 21st century, we need adaptability, teamwork, and problem-solving skills, not only disciplines. UNESCO also emphasized that modern education must balance structure with creativity, so discipline should support learning but not define it. Therefore, I believe discipline is only a supporting pillar, not the foundation of good education. In conclusion, discipline builds order, but curiosity builds knowledge. Discipline keeps students steady, but passion keeps them moving forward. So, while discipline is necessary, it does not replace the true foundation of education, the love of learning. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Ananda, the Deputy Prime Minister, and I will strengthen our case by extending and defending the arguments presented by my partner. Our Prime Minister has already explained that discipline creates consistency, moral character, and a supporting learning environment. Now, I will add more depth to this argument and respond to possible objection from the opposition. Education is meant to prepare people for the real world, not just for exams. In the real world, discipline is essential. Whether someone becomes a teacher, doctor, entrepreneur, or engineer, they need to meet deadlines, manage time, and control emotion. A person can be very intelligent, but without discipline, that intelligence will not lead to success. For example, a brilliant student who never submits work or comes late to meeting will fail in any professional setting. That is why education that builds discipline creates people who are ready for life, not just for school. Many students today face stress, anxiety, and burnout because they cannot manage their time or focus. Discipline helps prevent that. When students have schedule, routine, and self-control, they become mentally stronger and more stable. This kind of emotional discipline is what allows them to overcome failure, handle pressure, and stay motivated even in hard times. So, discipline not only support education, it protects mental health as well. In a disciplined school, everyone follows the same rules. No one gets special treatment. This creates fairness and respect among students. Without discipline, the loudest or richest student might dominate, while others are ignored. Discipline gives equal opportunity for every student to learn in peace and safety. That's why discipline is not about control, it's about fairness and order. The opposition might argue that discipline leads to invention. We disagree. Discipline does not kill creativity, it gives structure to it. A musician needs discipline to practice every day before performing freely. A writer needs discipline to finish a book. Creativity without discipline is chaos. Discipline turns creativity into achievement. So rather than restricting students, discipline empowers them to us to use their ability productively. In conclusion, discipline is not something added to education, it is what makes education possible. It shapes habits, builds responsibility, strengthens mental health, and ensures fairness. Education without discipline is like a building without a foundation, it will collapse. That is why we, the opening government, proudly stand and reaffirm that discipline is the foundation of good education. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the second speaker of the opening opposition, I stand firmly against this motion. We agree that discipline is important, but calling it the foundation of good education is misleading. Education should be built on curiosity, creativity, and motivation, not just strict control. First, discipline alone limits creativity and critical thinking. When students are forced to follow read rules, they stop asking questions and simply obey. They may create order, but it destroys innovation. A good education encourages students to think, explore, and challenging ideas, not to fear making mistakes. Second, education should develop the whole person intellectually, emotionally, and socially. Discipline only shapes behavior, but it doesn't teach empathy, teamwork, or problem solving. For example, a disciplined student might obey rules but fail to understand cooperation or competition, which are essential in real life. In response to the government, this discipline guarantees success, but real success comes for inspiration and understanding, not fear or control. Discipline should be a tool, not the foundation. To conclude, discipline helps get education, but it should never define it. The true foundation of education lies in curiosity, character, and creativity. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable judges, respected opposition team, and ladies and gentlemen. As the government member for the close government, I'm proud to continue supporting the motion. This House believes that discipline is the foundation of good education. Whatever the opposition say might whether about freedom, creativity, or flexibility, our stance remains strong. Discipline and freedom are not enemies. Discipline gives direction. It guides students to use their freedom productively, keeping education meaningful and balanced. First argument is discipline builds self-control and independence. Education is not only about intelligence but about responsibility. Discipline teaches students to manage time, complete tasks, and stay consistent even without supervision. A disciplined student learns because they want to grow, not because they fear punishment. Second argument is discipline ensure fairness. Without discipline, some students might disrespect rules and disrupt others. Discipline creates fairness, respect, and equal opportunities. It teaches that effort is rewarded, while laziness is not, shaping a just learning environment. And the last argument is discipline prepares students for real life. Success in real life depends on being responsible, punctual, and organized, not just smart. Discipline train these habits early, preparing students to be reliable workers, leaders, and citizens. In conclusion, discipline is the foundation that turns knowledge into success and learning into character. Without discipline, education loses its direction. With discipline, education builds strong, responsible individuals who are ready for the real world. Therefore, we, the closing government, proudly stand by the motion then. Thank you.
Good evening, honorable. Good evening, honorable judges, respected members of government bench, our fellow opposition team, and everyone present here today. My name is Aulia Maharesi, and I stand here proudly as the first speaker of the closing opposition. As the closing opposition, we fully acknowledge that discipline has a role in education. However, we strongly believe that discipline is not for the foundation of good education. Instead, the true foundation lies in holistic learning that prioritizes intrinsic motivation, emotional well-being, and meaningful engagement. Discipline only supports education, it does not define it. Good education is fundamentally based on intrinsic motivation, not strict discipline. Students who learning because they are curious, inspired, and personally engaged tend to perform better in the long term compared to those who simply follow rules out of fear or pressure. If learning is driven only by discipline, students might complete, but they don't truly understand or internalize knowledge. Intrinsic motivation, on the other hand, encourages students to explore, question, and take ownership of their learning. Educational psychology research consistently shows that self-determined learning leads to higher retention, creativity, and confidence. The most successful educational models worldwide emphasize curiosity, self-regulation, and supportive environments, not rigid control. We are not rejecting discipline entirely, we reject the idea that it is the foundation. Therefore, character development and motivation must come before discipline. Discipline supports learning, it does not create it. When discipline is placed as the foundation, it leads to a stressful and restrictive learning environment. Strict discipline often results in fear-based learning, where students aim to avoid punishment rather than pursue growth. A classroom dominated by fear suppresses creativity, critical thinking, and emotional well-being skills that are essential in the modern world. Studies on mental health in highly disciplined school systems show increased anxiety, burnout, and decreased student engagement. This means discipline first education harms the very development schools are supposed to nurture. An education system that prioritizes discipline over understanding ends up creating obedient students, not empowered learners. The government may argue that discipline builds character and success. We don't need deny that discipline has value. However, discipline without understanding becomes obedience. Discipline without motivation becomes pressure. Discipline without emotional support becomes punishment. We argue that this self-discipline, which comes from internal motivation and confidence, is far more meaningful than external discipline enforced by rules. The government's model focused on controlling students. Our model focused on helping students control themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, the foundation of good education should never be about how well students obey, but how deeply they grow, how they think, and how they develop their sense of purpose. Discipline is a tool, not the core. The true foundation of education is intrinsic motivation, emotional growth, and meaningful engagement. Therefore, we proudly stand as the closing opposition and strongly reject the motion. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Judge, respected opposition team, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nabila Ramadhani, and I'm standing here proudly as the Deputy Government from the closing government side. Today, we continue to strongly support the motion this House believes that discipline is the foundation of good education. First, let me begin by strengthening the ideas brought by my partner in the opening and closing government. Education is not just about memorizing facts or passing exams. It's about shaping the kind of person a student becomes. And to build strong, responsible, and successful individuals, discipline must stand at the very core. Now, before presenting my own extension arguments, let me briefly respond to what the opposition might argue. They might say that discipline is too strict or that it kills creativity and freedom. However, that is a misunderstanding of what true discipline means. Discipline is not about punishment or control, but about guidance and consistency. Is not an enemy or freedom. In fact, discipline gives structure to freedom. Without discipline, freedom turns into chaos. With discipline, students know how to use their freedom wisely, productively, and responsibly. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the main purposes of education is to help students become independent learners. A disciplined student knows how to manage their time, focus on their tasks, and take responsibility for their own progress, even when no teacher is watching. For example, when a student decides to study before playing games, that is discipline. Over time, this habit grows into self control. And self-control turns into independence, the ability. No, thank you. And self-control turns into independence, the ability to keep learning and growing without being told what to do. So discipline is not just about obeying rules, it's about forming habits that lead to lifelong learning. Another key point, Honorable Judge, is that discipline creates a fair and respectful environment for everyone. Without discipline, classrooms would be chaotic, and some students might talk over other, break rules, or ignore deadlines. This creates inequality because it prevents serious students from learning effectively. Discipline, on the other hand, makes sure that everyone follows the same standards. It teaches respect for the teacher, peers, and the learning process itself. When all students practice discipline, everyone gets an equal opportunity to learn and success. In short, discipline builds not only order but also justice and respect values that every good education system must uphold. Finally, discipline is what connects education to the real world. In real life, success doesn't come only from intelligence, it comes from commitment, organization, and responsibility. Employers and society value people manage people who are consistent, reliable, and able to manage themselves, all of which are results of discipline. A student who learns discipline in school will grow into an adult who knows how to meet deadlines, respect others, and stay focused on goals. So, when we talk about education preparing students for the future, discipline is not optional, it's essential. To conclude, Honorable Judge, we, the Closing Government, firmly believe that discipline is the foundation that holds education together. It shapes student character, strengthens fairness and equality, and prepares them for success beyond the classroom. Without discipline, even the best education system would lose its direction. With discipline, education becomes a tool not only for knowledge but for building integrity, responsibility, and lifelong growth. Therefore, we stand proudly and strongly in support of the motion that discipline is the foundation of good education. Thank you.
My name is Haifa. As closing opposition second speaker, I stand firmly against the motion. This motion believes that discipline is the foundation of good education. While discipline is undeniably important, I will demonstrate through clear claims supported by evidence that it cannot alone serve as the foundation of good education. Education is multifaceted and requires creativity, emotional support, and balanced teaching approaches. Emotional and social supports are as foundational as disciplines are for effective learning. The American Psychological Association or APA 2022 highlights that emotional well-being significantly correlates with student motivation and academic achievements. Students learn best in environments that are emotionally supportive, safe, and engaging. Discipline without these supports can lead to anxiety and disengagement. Without emotional supports, discipline can harm students' development and reduce the educational effectiveness. Effective education balance discipline with encouragement and student-centered methods. 2023 OECD reports show that top-performing schools combine respectful discipline with active learning and positive teacher-student interaction. So, reliance on discipline ignores the complex pedagogical roles that foster engagement and deeper learning. Treating discipline as the foundation oversimplifies education and neglects factors essential for student success. The government may argue discipline is necessary for order and focus. We agree is important, but it is only a part of a foundation. With creativity, emotional health, and balanced pedagogies, educational risk producing disengaged students. Discipline is a tool to support education is not its foundation. In conclusion, discipline is important but insufficient alone to form the foundation of good education. Holistic education depends on creativity, emotional well-being, and balanced teaching alongside discipline. Therefore, the motion should be rejected. Thank you.